Alright everybody, so in today's video we're going to see some shocking information about an effort to stop a homeless shelter for veterans in Bradenton, Florida. As you guys who are familiar with my channel know, we have thousands of homeless people in Manatee County, Florida. However, according to Florida Health, Manatee County only reported 188 homeless people. They only register homeless people who have a criminal record. They want to portray the local homeless population as nothing more than criminals. Now, this letter that we're about to read was passed out to people in West Bradenton, a home for disabled veterans. However, as we're going to see in this letter, it's quite disturbing the way they portrayed this effort to house the homeless. Even more shocking is I'm going to show you guys what this site actually looks like, and I'm going to give you guys a tour of an adjacent homeless camp. I assumed because it was close to the beach that they wouldn't have these informal settlements. However, they're some of the worst ones I've seen so far in a neighborhood that I thought would be much better. Now, when you read this letter, you're almost going to assume that the surrounding community are mansions because, of course, the way that they're depicting homelessness, it's actually a gang-infested, homeless camp-infested neighborhood. So it's not like we're talking about Port Royal here or Anna Maria Island. We're talking a neighborhood that's marked up with gang territories. And not just any regular gang, the most dangerous and feared gangs that exist in the United States have marked up this area. Let's read this letter. The letterhead says Safe Neighborhood Alliance, and it says, "Dear neighbors, our neighborhood needs your help. Manatee County commissioners are trying to create a homeless shelter to hold hundreds of vagrants on the corner of Cortez and 66 within walking distance from our neighborhood." Now, by the sound of this statement, you would think we're talking about a prestigious neighborhood. However, we went into this neighborhood and we found homeless camps, gang graffiti, and people breeding chickens within city limits 1 block away from the proposed site, as well as unrepaired city utilities and garbage can lids littered. The complete disaster of this community is the condition it's in currently, despite the fact this letter makes it seem like this community is a paradise, when in reality, this neighborhood is actually marked up gang territory, homeless camps, and of course, notice how they mentioned that these people were vagrants. However, they failed to notice that the community was going to push back because it was actually disabled veterans. And the misinformation that you're about to read is going to blow your freaking mind. It continues to say that if they are successful, we can expect a 4,000% increase in violent crime, a 2.7 whatever increase in property crimes in the areas around our neighborhood. As taxpayers, we deserve to have the freedom to enjoy our community without fear of being harassed, assaulted, or killed. I'm not going to quote all the stupidity listed on this letter that was sent to people in Bradenton, but it goes on to explain how it's going to affect property values as much as $75,000 per capita. And it talks about how we need to stop these developers from New York. Now, let me enlighten you on the truth about this project. It's going to create hotel-like rooms for people that are mostly in wheelchairs, providing permanent housing to individuals who do not have criminal records, have been scanned to make sure that they're not registered offenders of any sort, and that they haven't been charged dishonestly. In other words, they're looking for exemplary veterans, out of which, in Manatee County, there's a population of 38,000 veterans in Manatee County. We can assume that 122 rooms or little housing units is not enough for all of their needs if they were to end up homeless. Without a doubt, 122 housing units for 38,000 veterans in Manatee County is by no means enough to cover all the needs of this county's veteran population if they were to end up homeless. However, here's the problem, that Manatee County is only reporting 188 homeless people for the entire county. That's all the homeless people that exist here, because they want to deny resources to the homeless population. Their claim is that they're going to bring homeless people from other parts of the country here. They're going to attract homeless people. However, as you guys know, I have been interviewing homeless people in Manatee County now. And when I interview them, I always ask them, where are you originally from? And as we know, a vast majority of the homeless people in Manatee County originated. What area are you originally from?
Onico, Samsat.
When I was growing up, my active population was 1,500 people.
Were you born in Florida?
Yes, I was.
In Manatee County, Bradenton?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm 46 years old, and that's where I've been most of all my life, except for 1 year.
So this is the only place you know?
The only place I know.
So it's not about attracting homeless people from other places. The truth is that if now they allocate 122 units to house disabled veterans and they get filled up, it makes them look like liars because they only have 188 homeless people registered in Manatee County, and they all happen to be career criminals. Manatee County has only been registering people to be homeless if they have an extensive criminal record, because that's the way they want to portray this population. Why? So that they don't have to acknowledge that a homeless problem exists. Hey, how can we have a homeless problem when it doesn't exist on paper? So let's talk about the piece of land where this is going to go in. Allegedly, according to this letter, a homeless shelter would just about destroy the property values for this area. However, I went to this area and we found homeless camps, gang graffiti, and people breeding chickens in their backyards. I think all that already devalues the value of this area more than a shelter for veterans. The plot of land that is being allocated for this purpose already has a waste recycling plant. Yes, where we send all our poop and it gets recycled. That is the smell that's coming out of this neighborhood because they already have a waste recycling plant on this plot of land. There's only two smells that will drop the value of your property. One is a waste treatment plant and the other is a Burger King. The plot of land that this proposed site will be on is a waste recycling plant currently. Therefore, I don't think it can get any more unattractive than what's going on here already. You would think by this letter that these were gated communities. We're talking $1 million houses that are going to depreciate $70,000. The reality is that even in downtown Bradenton, where the Salvation Army is, real estate prices are ridiculously high, despite the fact that they actually have a homeless camp out on the sidewalk. These are definitely the sketchiest of the homeless population that reside in this area, and real estate prices there are ridiculously high. But regardless, there's no need to argue too much because the community has already spoken out and they are indignant at whoever sent these letters. From what many sources are telling me, it is in fact somebody on the county commissioner's board. So here's a situation for you. Despite the fact that whoever sent these letters out is portraying this neighborhood as this wholesome place that's going to be destroyed because they're bringing in housing for the homeless, you already had homeless people. The irony, the absolute irony of this situation is that there's already a homeless camp on this lot. Yes, the specific place where this building is going to go already has a homeless camp. But wait, there's more. On the intersection of 66 and Cortez, where this is the proposed site, you have a metal container on the corner for city utilities, and it has gang graffiti on it. One of the most dangerous gangs that we have in the United States at that. Just 2.5 miles to the east of this proposed site, we stopped at a Wawa gas station, and while the wife went inside the Wawa, I went out back to see what this particular area of West Bradenton looked like, and what I discovered absolutely blew my mind. Even though I had seen homeless camps throughout the entire state of Florida and in a lot of parts of Bradenton, it never really crossed my mind that in West Bradenton, being so close to the beach, a site like this would exist. We're talking people going on the floors, gang graffiti, people parked in cars sleeping, others sleeping on the sidewalks. The most unimaginable and horrific situations that I have seen anywhere in Florida. Code enforcement violations posted on this site because of the conditions. And I'm going to say that this person who gave this warning, this code enforcement officer, went easy on them because there was definitely a few things going on that property that were not listed on the posted violation. My point being, everybody watching today's video, if these county commissioners and other people in the community don't even want to provide housing for disabled veterans, what makes you think that the mentally ill, the regular elderly, and everybody else in the population is going to have any shot at housing if they're homeless or any other type of help from their local government? I truly do not understand why the state of Florida is so fixed on not helping anybody who's homeless. They want to cover up the homeless situation, lie about the numbers of homeless people in the county, anything they can do to make sure that they don't have to spend one single penny to help anyone who ends up unfortunately homeless, disabled, on the streets. I think it's also an embarrassment that people from the state of New York are the ones coming to Florida to provide housing for the people that are homeless here.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation stands to deliver this program, as we have for about a year now. But we are deeply saddened by the misinformation and the lies that have been surrounding this program for helping veterans and first responders throughout the nation.
But what do? They criticize the developer because it's somebody out of New York. Oh no, bad, horrible New York. Well, let me ask you this. Why don't you have this problem resolved already? Why does somebody from somewhere else have to come here and help you with your homegrown homeless problem? And remember, my subscribers, that I don't give you a political narrative. I don't care if your clown is blue or if your clown is red. To me, a clown is a clown in a suit. And in all honesty, the only thing that I really want to illustrate on today's video is that if homeless veterans that are disabled can't get help, how the crap is everybody else going to get any help? Now, I recently got into an argument with the World According to Briggs about the Florida homeless population. He believes that the Florida health numbers of about 30,000 homeless for the entire state of Florida is accurate. However, the reason I keep putting emphasis on the real number of homeless people in this county is because by denying the scale of the problem, they can simply excuse themselves from having to find a solution. But if you've been to Bradenton, Florida lately, it looks like Fresno, California. It looks like Kensington and Philadelphia. And despite the fact I really love the city of Bradenton, I love the beaches, I love the restaurants, I really love the people that are here. Even the homeless people that I meet here have become like friends to me, a lot of them. I help them in their state of homelessness, and they help me get content for my channel. We're really like close friends at this point with a lot of the homeless people here. The fact that this problem is simply being ignored and there's no solution in place will really deter me from wanting to buy a home in Bradenton, Florida, because clearly the situation could only get worse. That is today's video, and I hope that this interesting story has brought to you some good information about the real problem, the fact that there's being solutions presented to help a small percentage of the homeless population, and despite the fact that here's a solution to house people that are sleeping on the streets, they don't seem interested in finding a resolution to the homeless crisis. But what they definitely don't give a second thought to is paying somebody $200,000 a year. They have no problem assigning their friends and associates incredibly large salaries. They have no problem distributing funds to themselves and their friends, but they sure have a problem helping the people that are homeless on the streets of Bradenton, Florida. So there you go. Would you rather see the homeless people go into a building where they have access to services when the money is being funded from out of state? It's not even local money. Or would you rather see them on the streets and digging through the dumpsters for food? Anybody on the streets needs help. And if they're there because of their addiction, and addiction is about the vast majority of them. And the ones that deny use, sometimes even I question whether they're lying about it. It is true that the vast majority of these homeless people are now dealing with addiction. And the veterans are by no means excluded from those analytics. But even somebody as outspoken as myself would rather shut my mouth than to call homeless veterans a bunch of criminals and vagrants that are going to destroy your community, because I frankly like my job as a YouTuber. But apparently these people don't like their job at the city commissioner's office, because now they are definitely not looking in a very positive light to the community. And I'll be honest with you, I have even seen gang members who protect elderly people that are living on the streets and have nothing to eat or nobody to protect them. It's actually the gangs in Bradenton who are helping protect the homeless population. And that's a complete embarrassment, a slap in the face to people in government when it's the gang leaders who are protecting the homeless. Recently, I was sitting outside of a gas station. I noticed a man eating a sandwich with a white supremacist tattoo. Another person, a black homeless person, approached him. He split the sandwich in half and gave the black person half of his meal. They hugged each other and then they sat down to eat together outside of a gas station. You may have also noticed that on our channel, many times people are telling me when I interview them on the streets that it's the Hispanics and migrant workers who feed the homeless the most.
And I was parked by some bushes so I could have some shades.
Yeah.
It's parked over there. And I was parked up next to the shade and I was sitting down. And this little Spanish guy pulled up in the next spot.
Yeah.
He said, here's $15.
Nice.
Go get you something
Spanish
to eat.
guy?
Yeah.
A few times I've went into Wawa's
Yeah.
and I had a gentleman, he was Spanish.
Yeah.
I just walked to the register and I had a couple drinks and he just turns around and out of nowhere and doesn't say nothing and hands me $5.
Yeah.
I had another guy that about a couple days later,
Yeah.
he paid for all my stuff.
Okay. So there are good people out here.
There is some, yes there is. And it's also pay it forward. People don't believe in it, but it is true.
Okay. And you mentioned he was Spanish.
Both of them were Spanish.
Both of
that did
them
it.
were Spanish. You would think that it would be the white person who would look out for their white brother in a hard spot, but it's not. It's the migrants who are helping the homeless. There's so much effort to turn the poor whites against the blacks and the poor whites against the Hispanics and label Hispanics and blacks of the enemy of the white man. But when you find yourselves on the street, it may be the person who you think is your enemy who's going to give you a meal when you're hungry. And the person who's quote-unquote your white brother may be the one driving past looking the other way. And that's the irony of life on the streets. The homeless population doesn't have access to the media, social media, or many of the other weapons of propaganda that we have in our pockets, in our hands, and shining a light in our face as we speak. But these homeless people that are on the streets, they're free from the influence of this evil propaganda, and they only see people for what they are. Good people that help, and people that are indifferent and feel too good to help them when they're down. To me, the right thing to do is to always protect the rights of poor people because they have nobody to protect them. The only thing that I can do is provide you guys with the information and show you the levels of hypocrisy that are being dealt to these people that just want basic services, an opportunity to get back on their feet. Many of them are on the streets and they have absolutely no intentions of doing anything with their lives. And that is a sad reality for many of the people that are homeless. But our job is not to judge these people for the situation they are in. Our job is to help them and give them respect and dignity. And I can't think what type of malicious person would actually make up lies to hurt somebody who's on the streets and prevent them from having housing. That to me has to be the most miserable being on earth. What's up everybody, this is Jose.
And Katie.
On today's video, we're in Bradenton, Florida at the Burger King. And we just got like 10 chicken sandwiches, like 5, what are the other ones called? So you got hurt recently?
Yes, sir.
You had a workplace injury?
No, it just fell out of a car. I got into a fight.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Misunderstanding.
Understood. Gotcha, man.
I'd be all about trying to expand my horizons, try to branch out and stop being so shy. I thank you for helping me out. And,
I'm glad to do what I can, bro. You guys,
yeah.
I mean, everybody deserves a chance when they're up.
Yeah.
You know, there's good people out there. There's bad people too.
Yeah, I'm not a bad person. I I like to be around good people, not bad people.
All right, man. Well, have a beautiful day, my man.
Yeah.
All right, bro.